Hello, my friends, Gary Giles and fellow poets. Welcome back to Conversing with Poets, also known as, just for today, the third live stream of today. This week I forgot to do a members only video, so we did write along members video conversing with poets. So, very busy day today, as Delgale said in the chat. But hello, everybody. Hello, Raven. Hello, I am Guff. Hello, Yoda. So glad that you could join us. Hello, class. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Daryl, Dazzle. Hello, anybody else? I don't think so. Nope, I think we're good. Hi, I say hi to everyone. I just realized I am on my phone and it doesn't grab everyone's name easily. No, streaming on phones is quite difficult. So, no problem. Hello, everybody. If you are watching, please don't forget to hit that like button. We do have 9 viewers, but only 4 likes. So please smash that like button. If you're watching playback, smash that like button as well. And do leave a comment down below if anything we talk about tonight sort of tickles your fancy, as they say. Hello, a poet. Great. Glad that you could join us. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. Look at those likes going up. Good job. Thank you so much, guys. Tonight we have quite a few topics for conversation. But before we get into any of that, I just want to hear from you guys, my Gary Goyle friends. How is everyone's weekend going? How are you all doing? What have you been up to? I know that some of you have been with me not 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, writing poetry. We wrote some really cool, spooky poems. I was really impressed. So you guys nailed it on that one. We've got 2 Jack Skellingtons with us now. As you can see, I've got my light up pumpkin behind me, and I've also got my mug as well. So we're in good company tonight, poets. Oh, lovely. I should not be drinking coffee at 10:30. I don't know why I thought 10:30 because I see that there's 10 likes. That's why I should not be drinking at 7:30. Coffee, black coffee. I'm going to be wired tonight, but that's okay. At least we'll get through a stream. This month, Ride Along was pretty epic. You guys smashed it. You guys did so well. I was really impressed. And for the first time, we implemented a rhyme scheme. And again, you guys smashed it. So perhaps that's something we'll keep in the future is maybe do a free verse to begin with, and then the second poem we'll throw a form or a rhyme scheme or something, because you did so well. I'm proud of you guys for that. How has everyone's weekend been? And what's everyone's week ahead looking like? Any big plans next week, poets? My Sunday has been good so far. Just waiting for my New York Mets and New York Giants game to begin later this evening. Nice. You got a derby, have you? A New York derby. Is that baseball? That's baseball? Or is that football? Football. Sorry. As an Englishman, I can't say that seriously. Handball. Carry ball. I think that's New York Mets. I think that's baseball. I think that's baseball. Mets is baseball, Giants is football. Oh, okay. Well, if it was a derby, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Half half of them are playing baseball, half of them are playing football. I may have to leave a little early, for I have to head halfway across the city for dinner this evening. No problem, class. Not a problem. I remember you saying about your Thanksgiving meal tonight, so no problem at all. You go to Thailand on Wednesday? Well, I think you've won that one, Yoda. I think you've won that one. That's awesome. Travel safe. Yes, yeah. Travel safe, class. Get there safe, get back from there safe. Thailand is so beautiful. I've never been. I'd love to go though. I'd love to go. I'd love to go. Everyone wants the Mets and Yankees to play in the World Series game. The World Series? Isn't the World Series just America, though? I could be totally wrong because I don't follow baseball. Is the World Series like, I guess you've got your league. I guess you've got your league, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You've got a league, and I guess the World Series is like a cup, maybe? I don't know. Sounds divine. Sounds divine. Yeah, I'd love to go to Poland. What the hell? I would love to go to Poland, actually. Um, but it's probably a bit cold now. I need to get to Europe more. I'm rooting for the Dodgers. Nice. Uh, I'd love to get to like Asia at some point. Da Nang. Da Nang is where I want to go most. Dodgers. Dodgers, funnily enough, are the only team I've actually seen play live. I got to go and see a game when I was in LA. And by the end of this is what I love. This is what I love about America. You guys just know how to do things. Um, by the end of the game, I managed to understand baseball. And unfortunately, the Dodgers lost that match, but they still shot up fireworks in the stadium, even though they lost. And it was amazing. I just sat there with my friend, just watching the fireworks going up. It was such a spectacle. That's it. That's what you guys are good at. Spectacles. Mostly, yeah. There is the Toronto Blue Jays. I love to see Japan. Yeah, I'd love to go to Japan too. Ooh, Dodgers? Oh, you're not a Dodgers fan? You're not a Dodgers fan? I'll just give it 2 more minutes and then we'll Mets fan all the way. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. I'll give it 2 more minutes just to see if anyone else jumps in. For those of you jumping in and stuff like that, I see the viewer count is going 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10, 10, 9. It's having some I don't know if people are dropping in and dropping out or if YouTube's just having a moment. But I'll give it another minute for things to sort of just level out, and then we're going to get stuck in. We got quite a few topics for tonight that I'm excited to talk about with you. I don't really follow any sports, but I'm a kind of Dodgers fan out of principle. Okay, out of principle. That's easy. That's interesting. My brain is just throwing random words at me tonight. I don't know what's going on. That's interesting. Out of principle. I wouldn't mind you elaborating on that a little bit. Out of principle. Let's go, Dodgers, let's go. That's one thing I remember them chanting. Let's go, Dodgers, let's go. Let's go, Dodgers, let's go. It was a good evening. Hello, Danny and Mitch. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, we're 10 minutes into the stream, so we can we can I am a bit more flexible with football. I like the New York Giants, Baltimore Ravens. That makes sense, right? And the New Orleans Saints. My family likes them and it's my city's team. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Then I understand what you mean now. It's the coffee, Adam. Maybe. Or maybe my brain's just failing me. It's probably the coffee. It's probably the coffee. I've never been so grateful for ads interrupting the stream. Oh, what? Because we're talking sports? We're talking sports. Maybe that's why the viewer count is going like this because of ads. All right, let's kick things off. So, a poet is being commemorated tomorrow. Um, and he actually inspired the channel's friend Robert Burns. We like a bit of you've met me. I clearly don't sport. Fair enough. Fair enough. We like a bit of Robert Burns on this channel. We've celebrated 2 Burns nights together, and we've spoken a lot about Robert Burns. But there is another Scottish poet that's being commemorated tomorrow, also by the name of Robert, which probably comes as no surprise considering his name is literally in the title. But Robert Fergusson is set to be commemorated tomorrow with various different events like a podcast, and there's a talk show in Edinburgh tomorrow and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted just to warm up and warm into the stream, I guess. Um, I just kind of wanted to get us talking about poets that have been commemorated. And I think I would just throw it to you guys on what poet you would like to see commemorated, and how you would like to see them being commemorated. And if you have any favorite like commemorations of poets. That's a lot. That's a lot. So let's start with, who would you like to see commemorated and how would you like to see them be commemorated? I know I'm throwing that at you right off the bat, but as I say, I just want to warm us up, get us into the flow of conversing. Uh, what is commemorating exactly? Uh, you can have many, many, many different ways. So, like a statue, a day celebrating. There is actually a commemoration for Jack Kerouac going on right now as we speak. You can have a look at the Jack Kerouac estate on Instagram, look at their stories. They're commemorating Jack Kerouac right now as we speak with bands playing. Uh, One of his friends is playing the piano while poets read. Murals, because they're launching a mural. You've probably heard me talking about this Kerouac mural a couple of times. They're finally like launching it today, um, to immortalize someone or something to show respect, I'd say. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of commemorating going on right now, I guess, in the next 24 hours. As I say, right now, Kerouac is being commemorated. Tomorrow, Robert Fergusson gets commemorated. So, who and how would you like to see commemorated? Who and then how would you like to see that happen? Coleridge with a pub dinner. That's a great answer, Yoda. Coleridge with a pub dinner. I like that. That's quite wholesome and respectful in a way. Just a pub dinner, nothing over the top. Just a pub dinner, uh, toasting to Coleridge. Probably Longfellow. He deserves some big commemoration, but I don't know how I'd want him to be commemorated. Living or not? I think they're usually not. I don't know. That's another question. Can you commemorate someone whilst they're alive? I guess you probably can. Yeah, I suppose you probably can. It just doesn't happen much. Doesn't happen often, but I guess, yeah, I suppose you can. I guess like honorary doctorates are a commemoration in some way. And I know that, going back to sport, sorry, Nikki, I know that Rashford received an honorary doctorship. I recently found I'm related to a colonial poet named Edward Taylor, so it would be cool to commemorate him. Hello, Tiny Tabernacle. I love that name so much. You need to pop in the chat more because I love that name. Tiny Tabernacle. Love it. Um, Interesting. Interesting. I have a soft spot for Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey. Yes. I, I don't know how I feel about that, I am Girth. But yes, it is a commemoration, and he's not dead. So yeah, I guess you can commemorate live people. Yeah, that's an interesting statue. It just feels a bit out of place, but never mind. That's awesome. So you can commemorate live people. So yeah, yeah, that answers that question once and for all. I'd love to see some of the confessional poets commemorated, maybe around Mental Health Month, since many of the confessionals committed suicide, which has put such a stigma on them. That is a really good point. That is a really good point, Raven. Thank you for bringing that up. To celebrate poets, artists when they are still alive is a must. Yes. Yes, but do you know, I couldn't even, I don't have enough. Form a sentence, Adam. I couldn't even begin to count the amount of poets, Shakespeare included, that didn't make it whilst they were alive. It wasn't until they passed. And it's the same with many artists, unfortunately. It's not until they pass on that they really blow up. Wait, Posh Kenneth has a statue. They've just unveiled a um Kaluuya statue from that is it Get Out film? But to me, it just doesn't make sense because you've got all these iconic characters, and I didn't think Get Out was that iconic, but I don't know. It just feels a bit out of place, but never mind. That's cool. Uh, yes, I had to Google who that was. It's of his role from Get Out. It feels off to me. Yeah, it feels off to me too. But people would call me racist for saying that. I was reading all the comments on a post, and apparently people who said they feel a bit it feels a bit off are just racists. But it just yeah, I don't know. We're getting very close to politics. We're in politics, and we don't do that on these streams. We stay away from politics. So okay, now part two of this little segment. I know, and it needs to change. I watch this one channel where she celebrates living artists. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Maybe you can share that in the chat. So, part two to this warm up, if you like, I want to know if anyone actually has a favorite sort of commemoration statue. For me, I really love the Robert Burns statue in London. It's along the Thames, and it's a little further up from Embankment Station. No, it's not. It's right bloody next to it. It's not further up. It's right bloody next to it. If as you come out of Embankment Station, if you take a right into the park on the right, it's there. It's huge. It's massive, and I really really like it. And my other favorite is, of course, Shakespeare in Stratford upon Avon. He's like sitting at the top of this plinth, and underneath him are all his like iconic characters. And it's a really great statue. So those are my two favorite commemorations to poets. I know that somebody, maybe Nikki, mentioned Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey. I like the statue of Coleridge at the harbour in the Watchet. Oh, nice. Okay, I'll look that up later. I really like the American schoolhouse poets, aka fireside poets, and it's interesting why they are called that. I wish poetry reading in schools or as families were more of a thing. That's a nice thought to do it as families. That's a really nice thought. Oh, yes, that Burns statue is huge. It's massive, and I love it. I love that they have other statues in there of just as important people, let's say, like scientists and philosophers. I think there's even like a lord in there, maybe. I don't know. I know there are important people in there, and they are just what's the phrase? Is they are dwarfed by? Is that the right phrase? They are just dwarfed by this massive Robert Burns statue. I just love that a poet has pride of place there. Correction, it's actually the Ancient Mariner rather than Coleridge himself. Okay, okay. I will still look that up though. But yeah, a poet. I really like that idea of families sitting around reading poetry to each other. I would imagine. Oh, I think it inspired the poem. Oh, so okay. it's the statue that inspired the poem, not the other way around. Interesting. And I believe there's a statue of him sat on a bench that you can sit next to. Nice. I like those. There's one of those for Virginia Woolf in Richmond on the steps in front of the Thames. Because she used to live in Richmond. I've not heard of that before, a poet. That sounds really wholesome. Yeah, it does, right? I wonder if anyone, before we move on, this is the last section of this section. This is the last bit of this section, but I wonder if anyone's got really quick typing fingers. Who can tell me? Hmm. I think maybe I know this, but I might be completely wrong. Who is the most commemorated poet? One would imagine it's going to be Shakespeare, but I know that Robert Burns has got statues all over the world as well. For Yoda, I know Yoda, when after Burns Night this year, I know that Yoda posted a picture on the Poetry Cove of a Robert Burns statue in Australia. I'm almost certain of it. So Burns has got a few. I know Burns is also in Central Park in New York, as is Shakespeare. They're right next to each other. About Coleridge, I actually read Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner for the first time a few days ago. Nice. Nice. I love it when that happens. You kind of learn something new for the first time and then it just crops up in other places. Homer, Shakespeare, Keats, Poe, Maya Angelou. I think it's old William Shakespeare. Wait, Homer is more, are the most, according to Google, interesting Homer. I wouldn't have, actually, there is a Homer statue. Yeah, okay. Keats, wait, Burns isn't even there? Maya Angelou, Poe, Keats, Shakespeare, Homer. I'm shocked that Burns isn't even there. Keats, I haven't seen a Keats commemoration. I've only seen Keats's death mask and his portrait in the same museum, funnily enough. Keats, I've never, yeah, that surprises me about Keats. Of modern entertainment killed a lot of hobbies and family activities. I know a lot of families used to play music together to entertain themselves. Yes, I can imagine that. Yeah, I know in the Victorian times they used to do that all the time. It's in Domain. There is a statue in Melbourne, right? Then Oscar Wilde, Walt Whitman, and Shelley. All these poets are before Burns. I was way off then. I would have put Burns right up there from what I know. This may be internationally. Yeah, for sure. Oscar Wilde? I've seen a couple of Oscar Wildes actually. I haven't seen a single Shelley. Interesting. You've shocked me a little bit. Homer statues would be weird though, because we don't know what he looked like or even if he was one person. Right, right, right. There is a famous bust of Homer. There is a famous bust of Homer that's everywhere. Classes linked. Thank you. I am Girth. Did you read Ancient Mariner as a ghost story? There's definitely it has inspired a lot of ghost stories for sure. Shared it for you. I think it's more his characters. I'm really shocked that Burns hasn't even been mentioned in the what how many was that? Like seven? He's not even in the top seven. That surprises me a lot. A lot. No, Yoda, I hadn't read Coleridge at all and finally got around to reading Kubla Khan and Ancient Mariner. You have a hard time writing haikus? Any tips? Any tips for writing haikus, guys? I use haikus in all of my workshops as a warm-up poem, because people tend not to be so daunted when I say, "Can you write me 3 lines and a syllable count?" and it's about nature. What is it you're exactly struggling with? Okay, we have did we go live late today? Oh man, my brain is messing me around. We don't normally go live at 7:30, do we? I've just realized we went live half an hour late. It's because we went live for the ride along at 2:30. We normally go live at 7, don't we? And today we went live at 7:30, which is why Nikki was early, I think. It's all fitting into place up here. It's all coming together. Sorry guys, we went live half an hour later than usual. Damn, you thought I was early. I'm sorry, Nikki. It's all coming together in my head now. All right, cool. So we got 30 minutes left of the first half. So there is a topic I have for this, um, which I wanted to talk about. So it's ADHD and poetry. Um, I am Garth and I were researching for this stream for topics, and I came across this article and the headline grabbed my attention. Um, why poetry is good for my ADHD. I'm not sure. We'll share the link to the article, I'm sure, but I'm not sure how much I took away from the article. So I'm going to really just open this up for discussion, which is why I wanted to warm you guys up in actually discussion and conversing with each other and stuff like that. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I wondered why Nightbot was a bit quiet. It's because I've got him on the. I haven't made him join the channel. So, as always, no politics, no religion on these streams. If you have a different opinion, that's okay. That's what makes this interesting. Just express your opinion respectfully. We're here to have a conversation. If everyone had the same opinion and viewpoint, the world would be boring. But we are respectful of each other here. We're like a nice little family of Gary girls. So we're going to talk about ADHD and poetry. Okay. Um, And is poetry helpful for ADHD, or is it a trigger to ADHD? Does it help you focus, or does it get in the way of your poetry writing? You know, I'm going to tell you something. I've always had a way of working, and it wasn't until I started up the Poetry Cove. It's not until the last 5 years. I just thought I was going a bit mental and a bit mental and a bit mental and just working myself too hard. And it wasn't until last year, I think it was, where I really kind of stopped myself. Um, I really stopped myself and said, hmm, is there something to this? Is there something to this? And then this year, I started telling people, I'm starting to wonder, you know. And people have turned around and said, yeah, yeah, of course you've got ADHD. So many people have said that. When I was at PPC, I think 3 or 4 people at PPC alone was like, "Oh yeah, you're neurodivergent. Yeah, you've got ADHD for sure." I was like, "Okay, cool." And it kind of makes sense now. And now that I kind of like, okay, this is probably a thing. The more I read into it, the more I'm like, how did I not know I had ADHD? I'm still not diagnosed by a doctor, but everyone keeps telling me I do, and everything I'm reading, and it kind of makes sense. That's how I've ended up with 3 different companies and just doing all these different things that I do and anything like that. So I want to throw the discussion to you guys. Do you think ADHD is helpful? Or sorry, poetry is helpful for your ADHD? Or do you think ADHD is unhelpful for your poetry? Does that make sense? Does your ADHD help you? No, does poetry help you with your ADHD? Does it give you somewhere to kind of just focus and lock in? Or does it do the opposite? When you're trying to write poetry, you want to go like this or you want to go like that. Um, I'm curious. Because a lot of people, you have ADHD too, Nikki. I don't have ADHD, but a few friends of mine do have it, and writing poetry helped them focus. Interesting. I have a few links, guys. Bear with me. Thank you so much, I am Girth. By the way, how amazing is I am Girth um, as a mod, doing all these things and links and stuff like that, and helping me come up with um, topics and stuff. Thank you, I am Girth. I was diagnosed with ADD back when they still had distractions between the two. Oh, distinctions between the two. I could get meds for it, but I'm not on any right now. Thank you for sharing, Tiny Tabernacle. Yeah, I don't. I could probably get some meds for my ADHD, but I'm scared that if I do, I would kind of lose uh everything that it makes me do because I do manage to get a crazy amount of stuff done, even if I get like wired over it and overwhelmed sometimes. For me, my brain doesn't work the same way as typicals, which I feel helps with descriptions, etc., because I come at it from a different place. Nice, nice. Mitch, it gives me something to focus on, but where English literature in general isn't my strong point, it can stress me out. I can understand that. I can understand that. I hear a lot that medication zaps all the creativity you have. This is why I would never, I couldn't, I'm too scared. As much as it probably would help me these days with everything I've kind of gotten myself into, I'd be too scared to do that. My struggles with completing a manuscript are well documented on these streams, but I managed to complete poems way easier. Interesting. I'm unmedicated because the NHS mental health department is shit round here. Round there, the NHS medical department is shit, I think is what you were supposed to say. I have a question. How do people feel with having your ADHD referred to as a superpower and a gift in regards to how you function or your diagnosis in general? Yeah, yeah. How do you guys? I fucking hate it. It's not a superpower. It's the reason I have so many issues and it is utterly debilitating. Yeah, it was in school or something where I needed it. It would make sense to get meds, but I don't need them for my life right now. Nice, nice. How do I feel? I mean, again, I haven't gone to the doctors and said I think this is what I got, but I'm pretty certain that I have. And I think a lot of people a lot of people that know me would probably agree with me. Um, I kind of hate it that it's put me in the situation it has, in the sense that I've got so much going on now because I can't stop. And I always used to think I was impatient. I always used to think I was impatient and I had no patience for things, but it's not that I don't have the patience for it, it's that I kind of satisfy the hunger and then I move on to something else. Um, Does it help me with poetry? That's what I'm interested in. I haven't really asked myself this. Does it help me with my poetry? That's true. When I was diagnosed, I got given a boo recommendation and a good luck for the future from the psychiatrist. Yeah, that's crazy. I won't even go there because that's borderline politics, but yeah, NHS suck. It's just, it's so bad. Um, I knew I missed something. Calling it a superpower is part of the current TikTok trendiness to claim the condition while undiagnosed. My problem is depression and the meds I'm on saps my creativity. I'm sorry, Raven. I'm sorry. That's true. When I was diagnosed, I got given a book. Oh, a book recommendation. I thought you meant like a boo-hoo sort of thing. A book recommendation. And I feel where it stresses me out. I never seem to finish a poem and then I'm left with odd little bits and pieces. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. See, that's me with projects. That's me with projects. I will get an idea for something and I can't not do it. I have to satisfy that hunger. And then I'll do it. And then I'll kind of half satisfy that hunger and then I'll be like, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And I can't just have an idea and not do and not do it. I have to try and do it. and I will keep going and keep going and keep going and drill myself into the ground until it's done. But I'm just wondering, in terms of poetry, has it helped or has it got in the way? Interesting. Interesting. I know a lot of artist friends, and there's the hyper focus and the way their brain makes connections that could be seen as a pro, but my God, are they overwhelmed? Yeah, our home is called the House of Half-Finished Jobs. I never finish a task, and it's had me utterly devastated. Don't want to use that word, but it's almost killed me. Yeah, poetry saved my life. Nice. I was dying from the situation, but it gave me an achievable outlet. Wow, that's really powerful, Nikki. Thank you for sharing that. I guess in a way, I don't know. How I haven't really thought about it. I'm sitting here asking you guys to bare your souls tonight. And luckily we have a great group and we can bare our souls to each other and feel comfortable doing so. But I haven't even given it a thought myself. I guess I guess where it's helped my poetry, it helps me. Do you know what? I have a topic for part two and I'll come on to it a little bit. So I'll say this much. I think it's helped me in the sense of writing poetry. I can kind of like get an idea for a poem and then I will sit down and write as much as I can for a poem until it's sort of finished inside of me. The problem is if I don't come back to it quick enough, if I don't come back to it quick enough, I'll lose interest in that poem and it will never get finished. Been really unhelpful. It's been really unhelpful. It's kind of got in my way, I guess, when it comes to listening to poetry. And I'll talk about that a little bit in part two. Um, because I have another topic for part two, and I realized actually I have had to develop a weird thing in order for me to enjoy ADHD. Enjoy, enjoy ADHD, enjoy poetry. Not trying to bring up religion, but I'm always praying and sometimes out loud, and often I get ideas for songs and poems. What I'm talking about in prayer. That sounds kind of ADHD. Nice. Freudian slip there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have had to do you know what? I will say one thing. I will say, and again, I'm not officially diagnosed. Everyone else around me, and I have kind of been like, oh yeah, okay, probably. But I'm not officially diagnosed. But the moment I kind of heard people say, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind you have it, and kind of affirming that for me has kind of made things easier because beforehand I thought why I just got more and more frustrated thinking why am I like this, why do I do this to myself, da 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 da, what have I done, I've ruined my life with all these different projects. And then now I'm kind of like, okay, well I know why, and that's just that's just it, I guess. So maybe um that's helped a bit. Yes, I see that a lot too. A poet, what did a poet say? I missed it. What did a poet say? Writing, I don't think it influences me much, though. It might be part of what's getting in the way of my writing. Reading poetry, my ADHD gets in the way. Interesting. So, yeah, reading. This is very much part two, but reading and writing, I think it probably aids my writing. I don't think it aids or takes away from my reading of it, but it definitely gets in the way of my listening to it. Having a diagnosis has given me something to research and work with. Up until that, I was just seen as useless. Yeah, exactly. So that's how I felt. That's how I felt recently, is that I was like, why am I doing this to myself? What have I done? Da, da, da. And then when I kind of accepted, all right, maybe it's not, it is me doing it, but it's not me, it's something else. I kind of have fun with it. Now I kind of make jokes out of it. Rude Adam, I'm under a poet. Ah, sorry. Sorry. You should get tested to confirm your diagnosis. Self-diagnosis isn't reliable. I know. Um, I would love to, but I probably wouldn't be able to get an appointment, to be honest with you. As an outsider, I feel like poetry for you, Adam, has drilled you into a hole where you are constantly working on poetry one way or another, not just writing, but with OMs. With the OMs. Oh, open mics, open mics. I don't know if it's poetry that has drilled me into a hole. I think it's the ADHD that has drilled me into the hole. But I love poetry and I'm passionate about poetry, so the two and two kind of go well together. The waiting list is up to 3 years. Yeah, so a poet, I think you're in the US, right? In fact, going by your Dodgers statement, I think you're in LA. So the healthcare service in the UK is complete crap. Like it's just fallen apart. So I'm not waiting 3 years for a diagnosis. Uh, I struggled in school. As I say, I've always thought that I've just not had patience with things, but eh, like every single sign leads to it, and I'm happy to just be like, yeah, I probably do, and if I don't, then I'm whatever. Yeah, I'm an imposter. Um, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2, which is depressive. I just thought I was a procrastinator and daydreamer, but that's not it at all. Just don't go through the private methods. Ah, they're diagnosing anyone and everyone who asks. I saw a documentary on the system. Oh, really? Really? I mean, yeah, I'm a guy. I probably won't go to the doctors for it, but one member equals one free hug. Well, yeah, if you want a free hug, become a channel member. Thank you, I am Garth. Just click that link, become a channel member. It really, really helps me, especially now that I'm unemployed. Woo! And you get, no matter what, even though I'm not posting on Tuesdays at the moment, I'm a bit overwhelmed with everything. I will always make sure that there's a channel members video. um, as I say, I've done 3 streams today. One was ride along, one was channel members, and then obviously right now. So if you can spare a few pounds, then click that link and get a free hug. Thank you, I am Girth. I have suspected EUPD too, but they recommended I don't push that diagnosis because it basically blacklists you here. You're seen as difficult. Oh, that's a shame, yeah. Yeah, like Psychiatry UK, I've seen people diagnosed through them who don't have any of the symptoms. They just had a 30-minute meeting on Zoom with someone without any medical qualifications. Yeah, that sounds crazy. I missed the member video. We'll go back and watch it later. No worries, Raven. That's okay. I did it spur of the moment because I forgot to do it on Thursday. I was basically doing some gardening. I was doing I was moving the poppies from Francis's memorial garden, because for some reason they all clumped around the soldier statue instead of in, well, you might have seen the stream. I measured it out and everything. It was a short but sweet video, yeah. Basically I just dug up some poppies and moved them. Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. BPD, but they're trying to reduce the stigma, so now it's called emotionally unstable personality disorder. Interesting. I wouldn't say that's any better. If anything, I would say that's worse. Emotionally unstable. I would say that's a worse title for it. Basically, I have big emotions that I can't regulate. Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you so much, by the way, everyone being really, really open. Like, this is amazing. And yeah, talking about ending stigma, I love that we're all sitting here and just talking about this casually because, it's great. But just for the record, I don't expect you guys to share. If you don't feel comfortable sharing all of this, you don't have to. But I think it's really powerful that we are. So good job, Gary Goes. I'm curious how it all affects your poetry as well, not the writing process, the actual content. Yeah, Has anyone ever written about this stuff? As I say, I've literally only just sort of accepted the possibility and the likelihood in August, really, after PPC, when, as I say, in just that conference alone, 3 or 4 people were like, "There's no doubt in my mind that you have it, Adam." So I'm kind of just riding that wave, and it's been a weight off my shoulders because I thought it was something that I was in control of and just messing up and just being a bad person and a stupid person, but actually it's not something I can control. Um, but maybe I can harness it. I don't know. I don't know. But sharing is caring. But I've never written about it. Has anyone actually ever written about it? I sound like Hannibal Lecter. Interesting. Well, there's a curveball. I sound like Hannibal Lecter. Hello, Clarice. Isn't that what he does? Something like that. I have BPD too, but rarely talk about it because of the stigma. Only in my journal. That was a bit of a curveball, I'm not gonna lie. That took me by surprise. Buongiorno! Probably won't be here for long. That's okay, Dimitri. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream, Dimitri. We're just talking about ADHD and poetry and whether it has affected the content of our poetry. And all those hearts coming in because I sounded like a cannibal. I don't know. I don't know how to go off on that one. You sound like Hannibal Lecter. Like, I guess. But it's so much easier to talk to people who don't know me. Nobody at my school even knows I have ADHD, not even my friend who has it too, since I mask it and I'm really good at academics, so it covers it up. Well, you have found your tribe tonight. Hello, Paul. Yes, hello, Paul, by the way. I was the same up until I hit my mid-teens, as then it all fell apart. Hello to everybody. As a adult ADHD, or accepting I have it, is still quite new to me. Yes, Paul, me too. Me too. Um, as I say, it's very likely. So I'm just embracing it. That's the word, not harnessing. Maybe I can start harnessing, but embracing it for sure. And it is a weight off my shoulders. I know, Nikki, it's so sad. I wonder what an ADHD poem would look like. A friend of mine has ADHD and told me that he used to write poems, but he lost them all. That's a shame. That's a shame. I am very jealous of Genevieve over on the Poetry Cove, who was taking part in Poco Chatmo with us last month and literally was like, I think I know where my first ever poem is. And then just went into storage and pulled it out. I wish I could do that with my first poem. My goodness, I wish I could see that. Trying to treat it as a gift. Interesting, Paul. Could you elaborate on that? You'd be surprised how many artists you connect to have it. I've found most of the writers I admire or feel drawn to have it. I would love to see it too, Adam. What, my first poem? I would love to see it just because I'd love to see. I would love to see how basic it probably was. Or maybe I had beginner's luck and it was like, that's not too bad actually. And then Poetry in Motion came out and I was like, what happened? Oh, excuse me. I suppose what I really meant was taking a positive approach. Yes, yes, yeah, exactly. Exactly. As I say, I thought it was just something I was doing wrong and was in control of and was just being foolish. But when you kind of realize actually it's something that's not really in your control, it's just something, it's just how you work, then I just been having fun with it and just accepting it. I'm like, okay, here we go. Here she is. Here's ADHD. We go off again. We're off again. I started writing a novel a few weeks ago out of the blue, and it lasted for a week and I stopped and abandoned it. So, yeah, I burnt my first poems. They were my journals that my brother kept getting and reading. Burn them all the day. I left home at 16. I'm sorry. Self-deprecating, yeah, you totally have it. Do you regret it? That's a good question, Nikki. Do you regret that? Not really, Nikki. They were horrible. Oh, okay. I've seen studies that ex I've seen studies that expose very young children to screens too early has a correlation with them developing ADHD, but I don't know. Interesting. Interesting. How long would it take for someone with ADHD to write a poem? That's a good question. It actually took me years after I was diagnosed till I actually accepted that I have ADHD. I'd gone through a huge personality change in the meantime as I matured, and I didn't want to think I had it. That's fair enough for a poet. I get these ideas. So, for example, last summer I was like, I'm going to get into yoga. So I bought all the yoga stuff. I bought all of the yoga stuff, right down to a yoga water bottle. And that lasted a month or two. Got bored of it. I don't even know where my yoga mat is now. Models. I got into models, bought all the stuff for model making. I have a model sitting in a box. I did tell myself I'm gonna start this today, and I didn't. But yeah, that's what I tend to do. Like, oh yeah, this is kind of fun. Let me buy everything I can to do with it. And then within a week, I find, oh, this sounds fun. Let me buy everything I can to do with that. It's more the quantity of poems if they're really in the zone for writing. I don't buy that. Screens lower attention in all children. ADHD was a thing when TVs weren't. Anywhere from minutes to months. Yeah, that seems logical. Yeah, I'm sure I didn't want to think I had it. Yeah. I don't think I missed anything. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. No, we're good. Mitchell, it took me 2 years to write my one and only. It took me 2 years to write my one and only poem. Been writing another for the last year and a half, but nowhere near complete yet. This is why I wanted to talk about whether it's a benefit or not, because some people say with ADHD they can get a poem done and achieve it, bang bang bang, hyper focus, got a poem done. But other people are like writing a poem, get distracted by something else, come back to the poem, I'm not really feeling it anymore, and it takes longer to get it done. I guess we're all different, right? As human beings, we're all different. Whether we have the same diagnosis, and I'm saying this as someone, again, I don't have a diagnosis, self-diagnosed. Um, what was I saying? Here you go. I've forgotten what I was saying. Um, good or bad, right? I didn't do this on purpose. I've forgotten what I was saying. Let's move on. Get back into the chat, Adam. Um, at least some of my poetry is out there. An ex has all the love poems I wrote him, and a friend has all the poems I wrote in college. Nice. In one of the articles I shared earlier, someone said they wrote up to 10 a day. Wow. I wish I could write 10 a day. Lol, textbook Adam. Yeah, sorry. Literally, there it was for you all to see live. I've forgotten what I was talking about. I think I was saying whether it gets in the way or whether it aids you. I got totally hyper focused on survival and wrote over 400 poems in a year. Oh, since then, I've struggled to write anything. Yeah, that's impressive. 400 poems in a year. Wow. Jealous. I haven't been able to finish a novel, but did manage a poetry collection. Maybe I'm not built for books. It's just hard to accept. Never say never. You know me, Nikki. I'm always gonna uh, spur you on. Never say never. I think you can do it. I think you can do it. But if it brings you uh, more negativity than positivity, then maybe poetry is just your calling. But yes, as I am Gov said, it's nonsense. 400 poems in a year. That's incredible. I'm really like I'm doing this stream and I've kind of moved on, but my head is like, what the hell was I talking about? I can't get back to it. If I went off of my medication, I could write like 5 to 10 poems a day for about a month, but then I'd crash and burn. Yeah, I feel that. I'm not in a great headspace at the moment. I'm sorry, Nikki. So that's probably part of the down I'm feeling towards it. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're here with us. Your Gary Goyle family. Mental health needs better diagnostics. They are doing lots of work on neurological aspect. Yeah. I saw an article. I saw an article like scientists have found a way for us to communicate through our while we're dreaming. Unless it was a fake news post. You never know with social media anymore. Yeah, I'm like, if we can do that, surely we can do better in terms of just basic mental health care and as you say, diagnostics. My first poem is 8 verses, and the one I'm currently writing, I only have the first verse. That's okay. You're a very busy man, anyway. You're a very busy man. Imagine if it were 400 poems a day. I think that would be actually impossible. Honestly, these streams are a lifesaver for my mental health. I look forward to them every week. That makes me so happy, Nikki. I'm so glad that these streams mean so much to you. I love them. They're my favorite part of the week. They're my favorite part of the week. So much love in the chat right now. Okay, on that note, let's take a 5 minute break while we're all loving each other and giving each other hugs. Oh, you guys are amazing. It fills me with so much happiness. Let's take a 5 minute break. I'm going to top up on, not on coffee, on something else that's not caffeinated. Maybe a green tea, maybe a calming tea. And then when we get back, we're going to talk about how you perceive poetry, which is kind of interesting. And I want to talk to you about I'm leaving right now. Okay, I'll be leaving right now. Okay, Dimitri, thanks for joining us. Have a good day tomorrow. I know you've got to be up in the morning, so thanks for joining us. Always good to see you, Dimitri. I'm a little tired because today has been a big day. That's totally okay. The sleep tea will definitely offset the black coffee. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll go for. Um, so yeah, in part two, we're going to talk about how you perceive poetry, and we're going to figure that out together. So, see you in 5 minutes. Okay, we're back. Sorry, that Halloween song doesn't quite hit 5 minutes. It's like 4 minutes and 19 seconds or something. So, Adam needs to put it on loop. Yeah, sorry guys. It doesn't last as long as our usual 5 minutes. So, my bad for the empty noise. I'm just trying to get settled. Uh, so I do have a hot drink. It's hot chocolate. I made a hot chocolate. Minus marshmallows and whipped cream, unfortunately, because we didn't have time, and I don't think I even have those. So, part two, how do you perceive poetry? Let's just make sure we're all back from our loo break first. Sounds like something from Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, speaking of, Jack and Jack. Did I even show you this? Okay, just going off of ADHD. Again, I can't really talk too much on it because I'm only really just kind of coming to terms with it and figuring it all out. So I don't even know too much. But when I was ill, I went to the supermarket for honey and ended up spending £67 on a crap load of Halloween decorations that I didn't really need. But I do really like that. I do really like that. So, totally worth it. But what is the music? I can find out for you. I got it from a website called Epidemic Sound, which is where I get all my stuff YouTube music from, and it's called The Haunted Concert Hall by Luella Gren. So there you go, if you wanted to look that up. Hi, Mark. Welcome. Mid-employment crisis. Yeah, yeah, yep. We don't even want to go there. We don't even want to go there. So, part two, here we are. How do you perceive poetry? How do you perceive poetry? Uh, no, I have never written poetry. Interesting, Paul. May I ask what brings you to the channel? We're so glad that you're here, but may I ask what brings you to the channel? Do you like reading poetry? Do you like hearing poetry? Do you want to write poetry? Um, yeah. Are you a writer in general, Paul? Says I am Guff. Yeah, how do you perceive poetry? What does poetry set off in your brain? And I guess it's a nice little part two topic because we are kind of talking about brains and stuff that goes on with it. How do you perceive poetry? What does it set off in your brain? To lead things, I guess, going back to the whole ADHD conversation, just quickly, it doesn't get in my way writing poetry, I don't think. Maybe I kind of will start a poem and then lose interest quicker and uh with more definitive, like, okay, I'm done with that, then maybe someone else would as they gradually lose interest in it. Because let's also not pretend like you can just lose interest in things, right? You can be like, oh, that's a good idea, and then just lose interest. You don't need to have ADHD for that to happen. Um, so writing poetry doesn't get in the way. Reading poetry, I don't find myself struggling to read poetry. Where it does get in the way is listening to poetry. If I'm sitting there and I'm listening to someone read their poems, my brain will like so quickly go off in a different direction. And I do. So, for those of you who don't know, I've kind of got this thing going called the Surrey Poet Laureateship, and we're doing lots of workshops through that. Every Monday morning, I do a workshop. Every Tuesday morning, I do a workshop. And every Friday morning, I'm doing workshops. And naturally, through those workshops, we are sharing poetry. And so I'm having to listen to people read poems like so much now. And it's a real joy. It's such a treasure and a gift. But through having to do that, when I first started, I was listening to people read their poems and I was staring at a desk. And then suddenly I'd start looking at little marks on the desks. and I would stop listening to the poem, and I'd be like, "Huh, I wonder how that mark got on that table." And like, I'm looking at my table now, and all the grooves, the grooves, and I would start like trying to figure out how those grooves got there and stuff like that. So I have figured out a technique for me, and I probably look absolutely nuts doing it. And I hope nobody ever studies me while I'm listening to someone write, but I can never look in the same place. So I don't know if you can see this, but basically, if I'm listening to someone write poetry, I don't know if you can see my eyes. I'm just going to be doing this. So I never like focus on one spot, and I'm just forever moving my eyes so it doesn't focus on something. I probably look like I'm having a seizure or something, but it's just so I can really take in every word now. And that's something I've developed. Um, but yeah, how do you perceive poetry, and what does poetry set off in your brain? Are you imaginative? So when someone's reading a poem to you, I realize the chat's going off, so I'll catch up in a second. Uh, when you're reading poetry or you're listening to it, do you build an image in your brain? Do you just kind of focus on the words? How do you perceive poetry? I think I best heard it described as the innovative use of language in creative ways. It was from one of the masterclass videos. I think I best heard it described as the innovative use of language in creative ways. You know how it's easier to explain how you feel by sharing a song? Poetry is like that for me too. Oh, okay. So if you want to say something, you share a poem with someone. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I suppose what kind of response does poetry elicit for you? For me, I'm quite visual, so the words don't mean much to me. I have to really visualize the poem. Okay. Interesting. Sorry, I just got to deal with this mess up here for a second. I wore a beanie in my ride along, so naturally I now have hat hair. So I thought this kind of looked spooky with the whole Halloween setting, and now it's just getting on my nerves. I suppose what kind of response does poetry elicit for you? For me, I'm quite visual, so the words don't mean much to me. I have to really visualize the poem. My favorite part of poetry is the sounds. I am a sucker for the use of vowels and consonants. They can set a tone. My favorite part of poetry is the sounds. Nice. Okay. So you like you're a sucker for vowels and consonants. You like the meter of a poem, maybe? Pro tip, if you read the text while listening to the audio, I find it way easier to follow and absorb. See, that's interesting. I can't do that. I can't do that. I like reading it to myself. It seems to stick more. So that's interesting, isn't it? See, this is what makes us amazing, is that is how different we are. And that's why I like these streams, because I like to get to know other ways of doing things. I wrote a letter to someone confiding my problems and asking for help, and oh, less than half of it was the actual letter. The rest was poems I used to explain my feelings. Nice. That's true. I'll connect to a cinematic poem way more than something that isn't as immersive. I've been told that I have synesthesia as well. Synesthesia, I think. So there are a lot of colors attributed to moods, also attributed to words. Interesting. That's so interesting. I apply color to my projects. For example, retrospect was orange. I always took it as an ADHD thing. Maybe it's got a broader source. It's a neurodivergence. See, color has never been an important thing to me. Maybe that's why my favorite color is black. Hmm. But I know that I think I'm on top chat. No, I'm on live chat. I made a point of going to live chat. It's just there's a lot going on, so I'm missing things. Did I miss something? Did I miss something? There's just a lot, so I'm probably missing things as I'm scrolling through. Let me unpin this so I can see a bit more. I'm always so curious about sound and how that's perceived to people. Does anyone have, so does anyone, so what are people's preference then? Do people prefer to read poetry? Do people prefer to listen to it? I guess you couldn't prefer to watch poetry, could you? Can you prefer to watch poetry? Because if you're watching poetry, you're also listening to it. And in that case, which one stands out more? It's a good point. That's a good question. Which one would stand out more, visual or audio for people? So for Nikki and I am Girth, who I am so lucky to have as regulars to my open mic, you'll know who Pete Cranmer is. Does his performance stand out more than the words? Or for you guys that have seen my poetry films where I use like stock footage to put little films together, do you prefer the images over my voice? I find it I find I appreciate when poems are read to me, even more so in a video image. I need to have read a poem to get the most out of listening. Pete is epic. Hell yeah, he is. I prefer to read it. Yeah, me too. That's interesting, isn't it? I prefer to read it unless someone with a good accent reads it. Like, I love hearing Dylan Thomas read his poetry more so than reading it. We've been looking at my hubs, we've been looking at Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night this week. And I've had to try so hard not to fall into a really dodgy impersonation of his recording of that. But for me, I prefer reading it in the first instance because I like to really lock in on the poem and go line by line and really like, okay, yeah, okay, okay. That's how I feel like I really get to the nitty-gritty of the poem. As much as I love listening to it being read as well, for me, the first interaction with a poem has to be with it on the paper. And then once I've familiarized myself with it, then I can listen to how people read it. And from that, sometimes I get a better understanding and a different understanding or interpretation of lines just from the way people read it. But my first interaction with a poem has to be the written word for me. And I'm quite a visual person, especially when I'm reading fiction. I can really like it's I'm lucky enough to be able to really very quickly start imagining and immersing myself in that world. But I don't do that with poetry, funnily enough. I never read a poem and visualize anything. Isn't that interesting? I've never read a poem and visualized it in my head like I do with fiction. When I'm writing poetry, yes, of course I'm living in that world. I'm very visual when I'm writing, but when I'm reading, never. Never. I'm very sort of I got a microscope to each word. Dangerous Minds has a really interesting scene when the kids are examining that poem. Interesting. Pete stands out mostly because of how he projects. I can't take into account people reading, me trying to connect with it, as well as performance, but that's a processing issue with me. Uh, I can't take into account people reading. I can't take into account people reading, me trying to connect with it, as well as performance. I find listening versus reading very different, 100%, as different people put their own rhythm to the poem that will differ from reader to reader. Yeah, I guess that is more impactful when we have different accents. Yes, yeah, for sure. And that's absolutely true. Find listening versus reading very different. Exactly what I mean. That's why I have to read a poem to really for me to really kind of get to grips with a poem, I have to read it first, and then I can listen to people reading it. For short poems, I prefer to read them. For long poems, I can't concentrate on reading them, but I can sometimes focus if I hear it. Did that for Song of Hiawatha. I always scroll back down and find Nikki has retracted a message. But it's Nikki retracting it. It's not Nightbot this time, so actually, oh no, there he is. I do also like listening to and practicing spoken word. I wish I could find a good recitation online of Tennyson, The Two Voices, but I can't, so I recorded myself reading it. I love that. I love that. That's very resourceful. If you can't find it, do it yourself, right? I record myself often. Nice. You should put it on YouTube, a poet. You never know. There's a stage in editing where I step out of writing focus and try and visualize it as a reader. Oh, I've skipped. Reader. I wonder how many people perceive their own poetry whilst writing. Hmm. See, when I'm writing, I'm like very visual. Obviously, I have written a film before, uh, and fiction. I'm very, very visual. And with my even with my poetry writing, I'm like I can see scenes in my head. I don't know if everyone does that, but I see scenes in my head. But I never visualize. Not once have I ever visualized anything when reading the poems, other people's poems. I am Girth. That's actually a recommended technique in writing. Ah. It's recommended when editing to leave several months at least between the last draft and the edit to get enough distance to be able to read it more objectively. Yeah, several months. I can't. I couldn't do that. I'd lose interest in the whole thing and move on to something else. I do, however, recommend leaving at least a week. Maybe that's my thing. Maybe that's my thing, but that would, because it's my thing, that's my recommendation, right? I would leave about a week, no more than 2 weeks. And I guess I say that because I've just assumed everyone's the same, but we've already talked about that in part one. Maybe that's just my thing. But if I left it several months, that poem would never get done. Uh, I could only leave something alone for a week, 2 weeks tops. Otherwise, I'd get distracted by another shiny object. It, where did it go? It just always made sense to me. Oh, did Jeff drop in? Oh yeah, hi poets. Hi Jeff. Jeff. Then use a natural baby. Then use a natural baby. I hate hearing myself reading poetry. Sounds good in my head though. Yeah. I'm a minor, so I can't do YouTube. Oh, okay, okay. Even this is technically against school rules. Oh, but I'd be interested in doing YouTube when I graduate. Fair enough. Same here. Wait, can a school tell you what to watch? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, if you're a minor, I don't know. Don't listen to me. Don't take advice from me. I'm crazy. I'm just some guy on the internet. I don't know. I'm digging a hole now. I saw the word minor and now I'm panicking. No, we're good. We're good on this channel. Maybe I apologize for any swear words that may have come from my mouth. It depends on poem. I can't read W.H. Auden because I can't hear a rhythm, but I can listen to him reading his poems. I don't think I've ever listened to Auden read it, any of his poetry. That's actually a really good thing. The point is to detach yourself from it. The trick is to get back to finish it, get it out there. Talking about novels here. Okay, fair enough. I can't leave poetry for very long either. A few days at the most. Otherwise, it loses all original meaning. Yeah. Otherwise, I come back to him like, what? What am I talking about? Yeah. I can't leave it longer than 2 weeks max. But I guess a novel's something different. There's a much bigger chunk of text, so I guess I can kind of understand that. I don't think I'd be able to leave it for several months though. Maybe, maybe a month at most. I would imagine. Um, when I was doing short stories, I was again shiny things. I was working on a book of short stories for Nerdians, and between drafts, I would leave it like 3 weeks. half a week sometimes. Yeah, not good. Hey, we hit 880. We are a step closer to dancing to Barbie. Hi, Jared. Welcome back to the stream. We're just talking about how you perceive poetry, whether you're visual. I only write short stories, but even with those, I can only leave them alone a few days. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good to see you. With novels, the editing is about making it into a polished final product. The drafting is already done by then. Interesting. Interesting. The editing is about making it into a polished final product. Find that interesting. So you don't associate that with your poetry editing, or am I misunderstanding? It's interesting how we as writers have different processes for like long form content and short form content. Now that I said that, I can't believe I just outed myself on rule breaking. That's okay, a poet. We're. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little secret. I think we're all rebels in the chat. Don't worry about it. I think we've all got a rebellious streak in us in this chat for sure. We won't tell. Yeah, we're not going to tell anyone. Don't worry. I'm just surprised that your school tells you that you can't you can't be part of YouTube live streams. But again, there's probably a good reason for that if they do tell you that. So don't let me convince you otherwise, because who am I? The mark of a true poet is breaking the rules, yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's a person here in the chat that hasn't got a rebellious streak in them. So you're good. To a certain degree, rules and laws are different. Don't go breaking any laws. A poet. I've got to be somewhat of a responsible adult. Rule breaking is the first step to being a poet. Rule breaking, but not law breaking. We're still good people. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Be a good person. That's what I'm saying. Always be a good person. And from what I can tell, you seem to be a good person, a poet. So I'm not worried too much. Ooh, adulting. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Don't become an adult. Don't do it. No one here is trying to groom you. All is good on this channel. Yeah, thank you, Yoda. I see mine and I'm like, oh shit. Oh, don't swear. You're gonna swear. You probably already have sworn. It's not a specific rule against it. The rule is against social media and certain internet uses. Do you know what? I can get on board with that. I'm not gonna lie. I can get on board with that. The rule is against social media. I'm pretty against social media. Actually, I kind of like your school. Listen to your school. Social media ruined life. Just kidding, because I'm on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know. Good pros and cons, pros and cons. Thank you all for watching me tonight on social media. Oh, Adam, shut up. And that's all we have time for tonight. See you later, guys, before Adam puts his foot in his mouth any further. I think you all understand what I'm saying, really. I think you can all gather my point. Oh, getting paranoid about someone who knows me finding this stream and figuring out I'm doing this. And don't worry, I'll hit my majority in less than a year. Majority? Yeah, do you know what? I know how that feels. I know when you find something you really enjoy, you kind of want to protect that and keep that safe. I know how that feels. Um, I'm glad you're here, a poet. You seem cool. You seem cool. Just don't get in trouble. That's all. Don't get in trouble. I could get expelled. Like you're kind of convincing me to kick you off the stream. A poet, you got to be super secret. It's like a poet. It's like Dead Poets Society. It's like secret. We're a secret society, guys. We're not just a YouTube channel anymore, Gary Goers. We're a secret society, like Dead Poets Society. In all seriousness, a poet, don't get caught and get expelled. As much as we appreciate you being part of the community, none of us want to see you get expelled. Take care, class. Enjoy your Thanksgiving meal. Enjoy your Thanksgiving meal. You can tell us all about it next week. We aren't worth getting expelled over. Exactly. We will probably be here when you graduate, so you can join us then. I would hate for you to get expelled over our live streams. So please keep that in mind, because we would feel awful. Uh, your studies are really important. I'm not an academic. I didn't do well in school, so but yeah, we're not worth getting expelled over. Thing is that teachers barely use internet, so it'd be hard for them to find this. Just make sure you're not getting caught watching it. I don't think you have anything to worry about, like if your teacher was a super Adam Gary poetry fan and be like, "Hey, I know a poet," you're expelled. I don't think you have to worry about that. But just make sure you're being careful that you know you're not getting caught watching us in the sense that someone doesn't walk past wherever you are and sees you watching. Please, I beg you, just be very, very careful. So that's kind of all I have to say. Those are all the topics. I've literally got the second half of part two uh is just hang out and chill. And I think this is probably moving forward. This is going to be the format I'm going to try and stick to. Is part one, bring topics to the table. First part of part two, have a topic. And then if you're still watching, then that means you're awesome. And then we can just kind of hang out and chat. Toggle is your best friend. I'm not sure what that is. Toggle. One member equals one statue in your honor. Thank you so much, Iron Graph. If you want a statue, if you want to be commemorated like we spoke about in part one, and you can spare the coins, please hit that like. Yeah, please hit that like button, and then hit that link that I am Girth has just put in the chat box, and become a channel member. It would be very much appreciated. But if not, just hit that like button and leave a comment. They're both free and they do help the channel, and they're probably the easiest way you can help the channel. Also, spread the link, spread the channel to your friends. 7,000 subs before Christmas, and you get Adam Gary poetry dancing to Barbie and a rubber duck calendar too. Be careful thinking teachers don't know. It is sometimes a ploy. Yes. Yes, we've all got to protect a poet now. Yes. Just don't get lackadaisical, a poet. As someone who's worked in security for 12 years, not anymore. As someone who's worked in security for 12 years, um, and any police officer will tell you the same thing. People that get away with things the more they get away with it, the lazier they become. And their efforts diminish, their guard drops because they've gotten away with it so many times. Uh, they let their guard down, and that's when they get caught. So that's my story to you. Yes, a statue for Adam. Become a channel member and get a statue for Adam. You don't know this school. Somehow I was watching far back on the stream. Toggle is using tab and alt to go back to a previous page on a computer or laptop. Oh, it is? Hang on. Tab? Wait, what's tab? Oh, yeah, tab and alt to go back to a previous page on a computer or laptop. I didn't know that. Oh, the moderator is moderating herself. Message retracted. Yeah, just don't let your guard down, a poet. If you're determined to continue to watch these streams, if you're determined to continue to watch these streams, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate it, but don't let your guard down. I do not want you to be expelled for watching the most awesome poetry channel on YouTube. It's just, no, in all seriousness. Oh, we already have those planned. A statue. Please be safe, a poet. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what to do. We all appreciate nude statues. What? Like the David? Wait, we had this conversation literally last week about a nude calendar. Somehow you guys were trying to unsuccessfully talk me into nude calendars. The David, the Adam, the Adam statue, like the David. Yeah, yeah. It can be like my laureateship portrait. Yeah, where I'm just like spread eagled. You're starting to see a pattern. I am, funnily enough. I am. Yeah, in all seriousness, I'm not going to tell you what to do, a poet. Just be careful, whatever you decide to do. You are a pro body double. I am a pro body double. You guys are naughty. You guys are naughty, bad, bad people. I'm a good boy. I would never pose naked. Wait, are you saying I'm a pro body double for the David, Jeff? I think my belly would disagree. Isn't the David supposed to be like uh the perfect imagination of the male body or something like that? Fortunately, I don't have that six pack. Well, that's our life class scuppered. I'm a good boy. Actually, I was thinking of doing life modeling, but not naked. I know that there's an art school around here. They were at the arts forum and they were looking for models. I was thinking of doing that. Just sit there and read a book or something. You were in movies, so the calendar is a natural progression. It is, yeah. I mean, it is. But I'm gonna have a rubber duck calendar. I'm gonna buy 12 plain rubber ducks and transform them all into poets. Could I ask what body doubles do? Yeah, so when you watch movies and there are like wide shots, like really, really far back, rather than paying the actor's wage, which is like, God knows, depending on the actor, like, I don't know, it could be tens of thousands a day or something. Rather than paying the actor, they'll get someone who is the same height, same build of that actor and dress them up in the same costume and make them look the same and have them stand in and body double for that to save money. Um, Also, if they're doing like close-up scenes for the day, they will use a body double as a like as a stand-in, basically, for other actors to act around them, but the cameras to know where these. Nikki, all these messages getting retracted. Yes, a fig leaf duck. Oh, life modeling is naked? Oh, then I won't be doing that. Hopefully I answered that question, a poet. A fig leaf duck. You guys are crazy. Goodness me. Who knew, guys? Who knew you were all like this? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You guys are the best. I realized there's a minor on this chat and I'm dragging it through the muck, so retracted. Ah, okay. Fair enough. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. Poets will be poets. Yep, poets will be poets. Crazy people. And I love you all for it. Is Mark still with us? Mark, are you still here? I was just going to ask how you're getting on with your Poco Chatmo chat book. And Raven, is Raven still here? I don't think I've seen Raven in the chat for a while either. Did Raven dip out at the break? Oh no. Oh no, Raven told me about Toggle, which I didn't know. How are you getting on with your chat book, Raven? Poet's gonna poe. Here. Have you I can't remember. Remind me, was you putting a chat book together? I can't remember. Or did you say you was gonna just wait and work on it uh, at a later date? Now I'm thinking about it. I feel like you said you was just making poems for now. I'm gonna put something together at a later date. Well, we're gonna do a meeting on the 18th, which is next Friday, um, for us to kind of just say goodbye. Hopefully not to each other, but just to the challenge. Hopefully Genevieve and Gallagher and class will join us throughout the year in the regular forum. But yeah, we'll do a Zoom call just to share our poems and books and stuff like that too. It is slow going. Almost finished with my first one there. Nice. With your first one, how many chapbooks are you putting together through this? I love that. There you go. I just cottoned on to that. Excuse me. There you go. First yawn of the stream, I think. And we almost made it. We almost made the entire stream without a yawn. Two, one before the challenge and one with poems from the challenge. Got you, got you, got you. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Nice. Hmm. Okay, guys, I guess I'll probably. It feels like the stream has. I'm so envious of everyone with a chat book out of Poco Chatmo, but it is awfully inspiring. There's. I think we're gonna make it an annual thing. So there's always next year. It kind of came out of nowhere this year, uh, and was like, okay, let's go. So now you have a whole year to kind of prepare mentally and be like, okay, September's gonna be the month I get a chat book in. If you haven't written one before, of course, before then. But failed utterly. I don't know if you can fail at Poco Chatmo because you set your own goals, right? Even if that goal is to write 5 poems in the month, that's fine. Obviously, Glopo NaPoWriMo, whatever you want to call it, is a poem a day. That's intense. That's really intense. And a lot of people that took part in Poco Chatmo did write a poem a day. They put wrote a poem to every prompt, and that's like crazy impressive. I can't even do that. So I know a lot of people did do that, but you don't have to do that. So please keep that in mind for next year if you take part. Um, Go at your own pace. There is no failing. Yeah, as Yoda just said, you never fail, but sometimes there is a day. I have to finish writing poems for the challenge before I can put a chapbook together. Fair enough. And again, Raven, you don't have to write a poem for every prompt. If that's what you want to do, of course, like don't tell me to shut up. You probably already had shut up, Adam. I'll do whatever I want. That's fine. I didn't even attempt the challenge, so you still did better than I did. There's no failing though. You did what you could as well as know your limits. That's all you can ask of yourself. That's so true. That's so true. My keyboard is going wonky. I definitely want to try it next year. Just conflicted with personal stuff this one. That's okay. That's okay. It's completely fine. It's completely fine, guys. It's all good. I wrote 2.5 poems the whole month. That's so much less than my usual rate. That's okay. Some people don't do well with prompts. Some people don't like the restriction. So it's okay. Some people naturally rebel against that. Oh my God, second in quick succession. Not that I'm counting. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're any less of a poet. That's so true. That's so true. I'm just like fixating on the fact that you said less of a poet. A poet. And I wasn't even doing any revising in that time. That's okay, honestly. A poet. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I found NaNoWriMo is too much. 100%. I can't do NaNoWriMo, GlopoWriMo, whatever. I can't do it. I don't take part in it because it's too much for me. But this one sounds way more manageable. Exactly, that's what I want it to be. Again, I can't do NaPoWriMo. A poem a day for the whole month. I can't do it. But a chapbook where you set your goal, you set your pace, I think is doable. I'm having a hard time writing now that I'm waiting for the painter I'm working with to get photos of his paintings taken of our book. I'm anxious for it to be done. Hang on. I'm having a hard time writing now that I'm waiting for the painter I'm working with to get photos of his paintings taken for our book. Got you. So his paintings are going to be in a book of your poems? Oof, that is too much. Yeah. I find dialing up a poem harder than just writing. Interesting. I've never been able to write a poem a day. No, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Sounds exciting. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Hopefully that comes in soon so you can progress with that. Another thing for me, I can't stand like things that not procrastination, that's not the word. Plateau. That's it. Plateau. I knew it began with a P. Plateau like frustrates the hell out of me. I get really worked up over it. If things are like, I need to always be doing this, right? I need to always be doing this. If things sort of plateau, I just get really anxious and frustrated. So that would frustrate me, Jeff, if I was waiting for those photos to come in before I could move on. The construction of a poem can be a lot sometimes. Oh yeah. For 3 years I did the NaPoWriMo twice a year. You did it twice a year and then NaNoWriMo once a year. It burned me out. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. That's intense. Like that's so impressive that you did that, Raven. I could never do that. Two NaPoWriMos and a NaNoWriMo? Wow. You're a machine for that. Yes. Yes, a machine. You made the cover? Nice. I find myself, I don't think you can post images in this chat. I don't think you can anyway. Maybe you can. Uh I find myself doing that all the time. You know, I've got two. No, I've got guys. Okay, little exclusive here. I have covers for my next four chapbooks. I love making covers. Again, it's this thing. Like I've got an idea. Ooh, shiny. I have to do it. I have to do it. So there are four chapbook covers sitting in my Canva. I think it's four. It might even be five. But yeah, there you go. So if you're ever wondering, I wonder if Adam will write another chapbook. Oh yeah, there are at least four chapbooks like designed with the cover, just not the poetry. Ooh, shiny. Yeah, exactly. I wonder where I got that from. Ooh, shiny. I was also unmedicated and living alone, so no one to bug me or for me to bug. Fair enough. Fair enough. I sent to your Instagram, Adam, if you want to show it. Okay, I'll check it out in a second. That's exciting. Have those covers would push me to write more. Yeah, but again, it's that whole thing of, oh yeah, I really want to do that. I really want to do that. Um, and then doing it, and then like, okay, I've done that. What's next? Um, so yeah, that's why. Okay, nice. Did you draw that? Did you hand draw that, Jeff, and then scan it in? Um, or did you draw that on the computer? Where did I get to? Just me personally, I'm not meaning yourself. Oh, in that case, we need to get you a cover. We need to get you a cover. If that's going to push you to do that, then that's what we need to do. I find being alone can be helpful when burned out. It's a balance between quiet and isolation. Yeah. Sometimes, there's that famous saying, artists need time to do nothing. I think we need time to be alone as well. I know I do. When things get too much, I need to just I just need a day in bed, curtains drawn. In bed, curtains drawn, and just chill. Just chill. The other day, I was just like, I need to turn my phone off for a whole day. Do you know the weight that had lifted just from having the phone off was so like it was really nice. It sounds so sad. That's part of his painting I pulled out with Photoshop. Got you. Okay, okay, okay. I agree, Nikki. I tend to do better when alone anyway. I want to have enough poems for a chapbook. Well, that can be as little as probably seven, maybe. I'd say seven's a good number for your first chapbook. Depends what you want the chapbook to be. If you want the chapbook to have something to give out at open mics or sell, if you can, some people actually like having chapbooks as business cards. It's not something I would personally do, but it is something to do if you had four or five chapbooks printed to give out. It's probably a very costly thing, not the most cost effective. Some of my latest videos, I've put a chapbook, a free e-book chapbook that you can go to and download just to get um, newsletter signups. Look, I'll call it what it is. It's getting newsletter signups, right? Um, Sign up to my newsletter, get a free chapbook. If there are no poems in there that you guys haven't read, by the way, they're all poems that I've plucked from early hours. Fungal matter, Geiger is in there, I think. There aren't any poems from Paws and Wings. You have a rough idea for a cover and title? There you go. Okay, put that into Canva, design the cover, and let's get writing, I am Gurf. Hello. I turn my phone off all the time. Pisses my friends off, but oh well, fair enough. It felt so good. It felt really good to just turn it off and know that I wasn't reachable. Does that sound really bad? Does that sound sadistic? I don't know. No one can contact me. If there's emergencies, no one can get through to me. I don't know. I don't know. Divorcing myself from my need for my phone and instant messaging, etc., was the best decision I ever made. If you need help with a cover, I'm always here. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, poets. We started half an hour late to than usual. We're going to finish half an hour later than usual. We've still got our 2 hours in. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for really opening up and talking about some stuff in part one. I really appreciate that. Um, and yeah, we've got a lovely little family of Gary Goals. It's great. I love you guys. I look forward to Sundays and hanging out with you. Best time of the week. So thank you so much. I'll say good night and I will see you again next week at some point, somewhere. Good night, Gary Goals. Have a good week and happy writing.